Yo, what is up guys, Red Stagg here. In today's video I'm going to showcase to you my Magic Find Bowazon build. Now she's got 400 Magic Find, she's max increased attack speed breakpoint, and she's running chaos runs in just under 2.5 minutes right now. Crazy, right? Now, although now I have some pretty good gear, I will let you know that this is budget and beginner friendly, and I will show you alternatives you can use if you can't afford the gear that I have. Seriously, I started this character from scratch and managed to self-farm all of the gear I have now just playing this Ice Bowazon. And you know what that means? That you can do this too. So without further need for an introduction, let's get you started on your new favourite magic finding character. So the skill points are fairly flexible, however there are some essentials. You need to max freezing arrow, cold arrow, ice arrow, and enough in pierce that with your gear you have 100% pierce. Remember, you can press 8 to see your stats such as pierce on a nice refined list. With the rest of the points you can do whatever you like, however I do have two recommendations. They are Valkyrie and Critical Strike. Valkyrie helps immensely with tanking damage. I mean, it's not 100% necessary because everything is pretty much frozen solid, but at least 1 point in Valkyrie helps for those bosses that can't be frozen. Then Critical Strike helps you with those cold immunes. This means whether you're using Guided Arrow, Multi-Shot or Strafe, you're going to be taking them down with the chance to hit double physical damage. With stat points, it's business as usual with Diablo 2. Enough strength for your gear, nothing in energy, and then split the rest of your points between dexterity and vitality. If you're dying a lot, opt for vitality, and if you're struggling with those cold immunes, opt for more dexterity for higher physical damage. I usually opt for aiming for 95% chance to hit a monster with my Mercenary's aura, and then dump the rest into vitality. So I can recommend that. What gear do I need? Now this is where you have even more flexibility than the skill points. Pretty much you're looking for a high damage bow, and then of the rest of the gear you need +1 to skills, magic find, increased attack speed when you can. But this wouldn't be a showcase unless I was to show my items. So let's get started. For the weapon we're running Ice Grand Matron Bow in a 15 ED +3 skills base. Plus the cold damage, minus enemy resistances, 3 to skills from the base. Plenty of ED for those cold immunes. Really, what more would you want from a weapon? I personally prefer the Grand Matron Bow to the Matriarchal Bow, and that's because I like the higher physical damage to deal with those cold immunes. Now this is down to personal preference, but I do believe that with the rest of the gear it's quite easy to hit those increased attack speed breakpoints in the GMB, and therefore I feel the superior options to help deal with the things you struggle with most. Cold immunes. Now, I accept that not everyone can afford ice, but I didn't start with ice on this Bowazon. No, I started with the super cheap and super effective rune word called Harmony. Again, if you can find a bow with +3 to skills, Harmony rune word is going to do very, very well. It gives you increased move speed through vigor, it has a lot of other elemental damage for cold immunes, and the 3 skills is always going to help your freezing arrow, which is your main damage dealer. Also, if you're not running an Act 1 Merc at this point, I strongly recommend you use Harmony, it's going to speed up your runs a lot. Now for the helmet, we're obviously running Shaco. It's the absolute perfect magic finding item, and because we now benefit a lot from the 2 skills, it's perfect for our magic finding Ice Bowazon. I fortunately have a 2-socketed one that I found myself and corrupted with 2 sockets, so I opted to put a 15 increased attack speed jewel in it and a perfect topaz. The jewel helps me reach my increased attack speed breakpoint, and the topaz helps my magic find. Of course, if you're budget and you can't afford a Shaco or haven't found one yet, Tarnhelm Skullcap is another good option. With +1 to skills and magic find, the cheap man Shaco also works perfectly. And of course, it wouldn't be right if I didn't have the honourable mention of saying Nightwings as an option too. It is by far the best damage for a cold skill dealing character. However, without the magic find, it just didn't fit me for my build. Guess you can tell I love magic find, right? Also, I know that magic find has diminishing returns and sometimes you're better to go damage than magic find. But I'm just saying, I found multiple Iraqs, I've found a absolutely amazing death web, and so far 2 unique sacred armors running around with 400 magic find. I just cannot let this go. And sorry for boasting about my drops there. I'll not do that again. Oh yeah, and that was in the last week. Okay then, back to the gear. We have on our body armor Skulder's Armor. This is just unbeatable in terms of magic find and plus skills, and you can roll super nice sockets, which unfortunately I haven't yet. You know, if you did get multiple sockets, you could think about cold rainbow facets, increased attack speed ED jewels for the cold immunes, or if you want more perfect topazes, you have so many options here. And for those who maybe can't afford a Skulders or don't have it yet, another super nice rune word is the Treachery rune word, with increased damage through venom and huge increased attack speed, as well as fade. This is not a bad choice if you cannot afford the Skulders. Okay, yes, I know this would cost you a Lem rune, but you know, you've got Hell Forges and you can always give away a Worldstone shard. In a worst case scenario, you can have any rare armor and socket it with perfect topazes. But I would recommend the other two. Your belt options are Gold Wrap if you can corrupt Pierce onto it, and if not, a Razor Tail works fine. Remember, you want to be hitting 100% Pierce, and this is not going to be possible without Pierce somewhere on your kit. Of course, you can find Pierce on gloves, or maybe on a helmet. That's up to you. Hit that 100% Pierce, and if you are, then Gold Wrap is still a nice option because you have the increased attack speed to help break points, and that magic find. Now for my gloves, I have opted for Laying of Hands Bramble Mitts. I personally love the damage to demons, especially if you're doing those chaos runs because Diablo's a demon and you're likely using Guided Arrow. But easily any alternative is something with increased attack speed. If you can boost your damage with it through maybe Lava Gout Enchant, or if you find some nice gloves that have, 20% increased attack speed, 2 to bow skills and magic find, you're in the money. The boots, of course we have War Travelers. What else? Extra damage, magic find, increased run walk. There's not much more that you want from a boot. Although corrupt cannot be frozen ones would be better, I know. But if you don't have War Travelers and you haven't found any rare boots, preferably ones with cannot be frozen to free up some ring slots, or some rare boots with magic find are also a suitable option on a budget. Now for the amulet, my amulet of choice is High Lord's Wrath. The reason for this is it gives you increased attack speed, it gives you 1 to all skills. These are going to severely boost your clearing speed. But if you're on a budget, to be honest, any amulet is going to do. Try and get skills, try and get magic find, maybe some all resistances if you need it. Anything works. Seriously, I ran with a magic find amulet that gave me something like 10 to all res for a very long time. Rings. Now, ideally here you want to have 2 Nagel rings if you can get cannot be frozen on another piece of gear. If you can't get cannot be frozen on another piece of gear, I'm afraid you're gonna have to use Ravenfrost. Now, if you can't get these, some dual leech rings are welcome, or single leech rings are welcome, or any ring with magic find and any of those mods. Charms, charms, charms. Obviously, as a magic finding character, we want to get that Geeds. If you can afford it, get a Torch and a Nihilus and the rest in Bow Skillers. And then for small charms, magic find if you can. Other nice mods could be Run Walk and or Resistances. But charms are just nice to have and not necessary to be able to start farming in hell with this build. On weapon switch, I love to run Naj's Staff. Whether it's repositioning your mercenary, repositioning yourself, avoiding immunities that you really don't want to have to deal with, the blink on Naj's Staff cannot be swapped out for anything else. Okay, you could go for Call to Arms or something. I've thought about it, but I just prefer having blink. It's so helpful. For my mercenary, I'm running an Act 1 Merc with Fire Aura. This gives me vigor to improve my speed. Absolutely essential is for her to have Faith Bow, and Templar's Might is not so essential, but a nice addition to help with those cold immunes. Now, I know this is extremely expensive, and like I said, I was running around with a Harmony Bow for the Vigor, and an Act 5 Merc for Might and his ability to kill cold immunes. And honestly, I didn't even want to upgrade to Ice Bow until I could get Faith Bow and an Act 1 Merc, because I just love Vigor, man. Really, Vigor is awesome. Trust me, once you go Vigor, you can never go back. And there you have it, that's all of my gear and all of my mercenaries' gear. And with this, I'm running around 400 magic find. I'm hitting the 95 increased attack speed breakpoint with my mercenaries' Faith Aura. managing chaos runs in under 2.5 minutes, and managing to solo all the maps. Remember, that's with 400 magic find on a Bowazon. So as you can see, it's a pretty strong build. Oh, and just for you, I'll leave a link below to an increased attack speed calculator that tells you what breakpoints you should be hitting with or without Fanaticism Aura on a Mercenary. Again, super useful. Now, great areas to farm with this are quite simply Ancient Tunnels, Lost City area. You can do Chaos Sanctuary, that's where I found most of my gear. You can attempt to do maps, even on a budget, and see how you get on. And additionally, cows are super easy and super fun. Trust me, when every cow turns into an ice cube, it is so satisfying. Probably the most satisfying character I've ever played. So what are you waiting for? It's time for you to build your ice Bowazon. And now that I've done a lot of talking, I'm sure you want to see her in action, so stick around. You'll be seeing her doing some cow levels, some 2.5 minute chaos runs, and some mapping. Oh, and if you want to improve your mapping experience, check out my other video, 5 top tips for mapping. I'll leave that in the description. And don't forget, if you like this content, if you want to see more, I really appreciate if you support my channel by liking the video and subscribing. Also, leave your comment if you're going to try out this build and let me know what you think. And now, what you've all been waiting for, the gameplay. Now, if you've watched it till the end of the video, big thanks to you. And if you really like this content, please remember to like and subscribe. Leave a comment if you're going to try out this build. I'm always happy to help you out. And until next time, Red Stagg out. GG.